A bad idea. A short story written by Katherine Mansfield, and read for you in both Indonesian and English. Please enjoy. Something's happened to me, something bad. And I don't know what to do about it. Sesuatu telah terjadi padaku, sesuatu yang buruk. Dan aku tidak tahu harus berbuat apa tentang itu. I don't see any way out for the life of me. Aku tidak melihat jalan keluar sama sekali. The worst of it is, I can't get this thing into focus if you know what I mean. Yang paling buruk adalah, aku tidak bisa memahami ini, kalau kau tahu maksudku. I just feel in a muddle, in the hell of a muddle. Aku hanya merasa kacau, dalam kekacauan yang luar biasa. It ought to be plain to anyone that I'm not the kind of man to get mixed up in a thing like this. Siapapun harusnya tahu bahwa aku bukan tipe orang yang akan terlibat dalam hal seperti ini. I'm not one of your actor Johnnies or a chap in a book. Aku bukan salah satu aktor terkenal, atau karakter dalam buku. I knew what I was all right until yesterday. Aku tahu siapa diriku sampai kemarin. But now I feel helpless, yes, that's the word, helpless. Tapi sekarang, aku merasa tak berdaya. Ya, itu kata yang tepat, tak berdaya. Here I sit, chucking stones at the sea like a child that's missed its mother. Di sini aku duduk, melemparkan batu ke laut seperti anak kecil yang kehilangan ibunya. And everybody else has cut along home hours ago and tea's over and it's getting on for time to light the lamp. Dan semua orang sudah pulang berjam-jam yang lalu, teh sudah selesai, dan sudah waktunya menyalakan lampu. I shall have to go home too sooner or later. Aku juga harus pulang, cepat atau lambat. I see that, of course. Aku tahu itu, tentu saja. In fact, would you believe it? At this very moment I wish I was there in spite of everything. Sebenarnya, kau akan percaya? Pada saat ini aku berharap aku ada di sana meskipun segalanya. What's she doing? My wife, I mean. Apa yang sedang dia lakukan? Maksudku istriku. Has she cleared away? Or has she stayed there staring at the table with the plates pushed back? Apakah dia sudah beres-beres? Atau apakah dia masih duduk di sana menatap meja dengan piring yang sudah didorong ke belakang? My God, when I think that I could howl like a dog if you know what I mean. Ya Tuhan, ketika aku berpikir bahwa aku bisa melolong seperti anjing, kalau kau tahu maksudku. I should have realized it was all UP this morning when she didn't get up for breakfast. Aku seharusnya menyadari bahwa semuanya sudah berakhir pagi ini ketika dia tidak bangun untuk sarapan. I did in a way, but I couldn't face it. Aku memang menyadari, dengan cara tertentu. Tapi aku tidak bisa menghadapinya. I had the feeling that if I said nothing special and just treated it as one of her bad headache days and went off to the office, by the time I got back this evening the whole affair would have blown over somehow. Aku merasa jika aku tidak mengatakan apa-apa yang spesial dan memperlakukannya seperti hari-hari saat dia sakit kepala, lalu pergi ke kantor, pada saat aku pulang malam ini, seluruh urusan akan hilang begitu saja. No, that wasn't it. Tidak, bukan itu. I felt a bit like I do now, helpless. Aku merasa sedikit seperti sekarang, tak berdaya. What was I to do? Just go on. That was all I could think of. Apa yang harus kulakukan? Hanya lanjutkan saja. Itu saja yang bisa kupikirkan. So I took her up a cup of tea and a couple of slices of thin bread and butter as per usual on her headache days. Jadi aku membawakannya secangkir teh dan beberapa irisan roti tipis dengan mentega seperti biasanya pada hari-hari sakit kepalanya. The blind was still down. Tirai masih tertutup. She was lying on her back. I think she had a wet handkerchief on her forehead. Dia berbaring telentang. Aku pikir ada sapu tangan basah di dahinya. I'm not sure for I couldn't look at her. Aku tidak yakin, karena aku tidak bisa melihatnya. It was a beastly feeling. Itu adalah perasaan yang mengerikan. And she said in a weak kind of voice, "Put the jug on the table, will you?" Dan dia berkata dengan suara lemah, "Letakkan teko di meja, ya?" I put it down. Aku meletakkannya. I said, "Can I do anything?" And she said, "No. I'll be all right in half an hour." Aku bertanya, "Bisa aku lakukan sesuatu?" Dan dia menjawab, "Tidak. Aku akan baik-baik saja dalam setengah jam." But her voice, it did for me. Tapi suaranya, kau tahu, itu membuatku kacau. I barged out as quick as I could, snatched my hat and stick from the hall stand and dashed off for the tram. Aku keluar secepat mungkin, meraih topi dan tongkat dari tempat gantung di lorong dan bergegas menuju tram. Here's a queer thing, you needn't believe me if you don't want to, the moment I got out of the house I forgot that about my wife. Ini hal aneh, kau tidak perlu percaya kalau tidak mau. Pada saat aku keluar dari rumah aku melupakan hal tentang istriku. It was a splendid morning, soft, with the sun making silver ducks on the sea. Itu adalah pagi yang indah, lembut, dengan matahari membentuk bayangan bebek perak di laut. The kind of morning when you know it's going to keep hot and fine all day. Jenis pagi di mana kau tahu bahwa cuacanya akan tetap panas dan cerah sepanjang hari. Even the tram bell sounded different, and the little school kids crammed between people's knees had bunches of flowers. Bahkan lonceng tram terdengar berbeda, dan anak-anak sekolah kecil yang berdesakan di antara lutut orang-orang membawa setumpuk bunga. I don't know, I can't understand why, I just felt happy, but happy in a way I'd never been before, happy to beat the band. Aku tidak tahu, aku tidak mengerti kenapa, aku hanya merasa bahagia, tapi bahagia dengan cara yang belum pernah kurasakan sebelumnya, bahagia sampai ke tulang. That wind that had been so strong the night before was still blowing a bit. Angin yang begitu kuat malam sebelumnya masih bertiup sedikit. It felt like her, the other, touching me. Itu terasa seperti dia, yang lainnya, menyentuhku. As it did. Brought it back, every bit of it. Ya, benar. Membawa semuanya kembali. If I told you how it took me, you'd say I was mad. Jika aku menceritakan bagaimana itu menguasai diriku, kau pasti akan mengatakan aku gila. I felt reckless, didn't care if I was late for the office or not, and I wanted to do everyone a kindness. Aku merasa nekat. Tidak peduli apakah aku terlambat ke kantor atau tidak, dan aku ingin melakukan kebaikan kepada semua orang. I helped the little kids out of the tram. Aku membantu anak-anak kecil turun dari tram. One little chap dropped his cap, and when I picked it up for him and said, "Here, Sonny." Well, it was all I could do not to make a fool of myself. Seorang anak kecil menjatuhkan topinya, dan ketika aku mengambilkannya dan berkata, "Ini, nak." Ya, aku hampir tidak bisa menahan diri untuk tidak terlihat bodoh. At the office it was just the same. It seemed to me I'd never known the fellows at the office before. Di kantor rasanya sama saja. Sepertinya aku belum pernah benar-benar mengenal teman-teman di kantor sebelumnya. When old Fisher came over to my desk and put down a couple of giant sweet peas as per usual with his "beat 'em old man, beat 'em," I didn't feel annoyed. Ketika Pak Fisher datang ke mejaku dan menaruh beberapa kacang polong besar seperti biasa sambil berkata, "Kalahkan mereka, sobat, kalahkan mereka," aku tidak merasa kesal. I didn't care that he was riddled with conceit about his garden. Aku tidak peduli bahwa dia sombong sekali tentang kebunnya. I just looked at them and I said quietly, "Yes, you've done it this time." Aku hanya melihat mereka dan berkata pelan, "Ya, kali ini kau berhasil." He didn't know what to make of it. Came back in about 5 minutes and asked me if I had a headache. Dia tidak tahu harus bagaimana. Kembali sekitar 5 menit kemudian dan bertanya apakah aku sakit kepala. And so it went on all day. In the evening I dashed home with the home-going crowd, pushed open the gate, saw the hall door open as it always is, and sat down on the little chair just inside to take off my boots. Begitulah sepanjang hari. Malamnya aku buru-buru pulang bersama orang-orang lain, mendorong gerbang, melihat pintu depan terbuka seperti biasanya dan duduk di kursi kecil di dalam untuk melepas sepatu botku. My slippers were there, of course. This seemed to me a good sign. Sandal rumahku ada di sana, tentu saja. Bagiku ini pertanda baik. I put my boots into the rack in the cupboard under the stairs, changed my office coat and made for the kitchen. Aku memasukkan sepatu botku ke rak di lemari di bawah tangga, mengganti jas kantor dan menuju dapur. I knew my wife was there. Wait a bit. The only thing I couldn't manage was my whistling as per usual. I often lie awake and think what a dreadful thing is work. I had a try but nothing came of it. Aku tahu istriku ada di sana. Tunggu sebentar. Satu-satunya yang tidak bisa kulakukan adalah bersiul seperti biasanya. Aku sering terjaga dan berpikir, betapa mengerikannya pekerjaan. Aku mencoba, tapi tidak ada yang terjadi. Well, I opened the kitchen door and said, "Hello. How's everybody?" But as soon as I'd said that, even before I knew the worst had happened. Yah, aku membuka pintu dapur dan berkata, "Halo. Bagaimana semuanya?" Tapi begitu aku mengatakan itu, bahkan sebelum, aku tahu yang terburuk telah terjadi. She was standing at the table beating the salad dressing, and when she looked up and gave a kind of smile and said, "Hello, you could have knocked me down." Dia berdiri di meja mengocok saus salad. Dan ketika dia mendongak, tersenyum samar dan berkata, "Halo, kau bisa saja menjatuhkanku." My wife looked dreadful, there's no other word for it. She must have been crying all day. Istriku terlihat mengerikan. Tidak ada kata lain untuk itu. Dia pasti telah menangis sepanjang hari. She'd put some white flour stuff on her face to take away the marks, but it only made her look worse. Dia menaburkan semacam bedak putih di wajahnya untuk menghilangkan bekasnya, tapi itu hanya membuatnya terlihat lebih buruk. She must have seen I spotted something, for she caught up the cup of cream and poured some into the salad bowl, like she always does, so quick, so neat in her own way, and began beating again. Dia pasti melihat aku menyadari sesuatu, karena dia langsung mengambil cangkir krim dan menuangkannya ke mangkuk salad. Seperti biasanya, kau tahu, cepat, rapi, dengan caranya sendiri, dan mulai mengocok lagi. I said, "Is your head better?" But she didn't seem to hear. She said, "Are you going to water the garden before or after supper?" Aku bertanya, "Apakah kepalamu sudah lebih baik?" Tapi dia sepertinya tidak mendengar. Dia berkata, "Apakah kamu akan menyiram kebun sebelum atau sesudah makan malam?" What could I say? I said, "After," and went off to the dining room, opened the evening paper and sat by the open window while hiding behind that paper, I suppose. Apa yang bisa kukatakan? Aku menjawab, "Sesudahnya." Lalu pergi ke ruang makan, membuka koran sore dan duduk di dekat jendela yang terbuka. Yah, mungkin aku bersembunyi di balik koran itu. I shall never forget sitting there. People passing by going down the road sounded so peaceful. Aku takkan pernah melupakan saat duduk di sana. Orang-orang yang lewat, berjalan di jalan, terdengar begitu damai. And a man passed with some cows. I envied him. Dan seorang pria lewat dengan beberapa sapi. Aku iri padanya. My wife came in and out. Then she called me to supper and we sat down. Istriku keluar masuk. Lalu dia memanggilku untuk makan malam, dan kami duduk. I suppose we ate some cold meat and salad. I don't remember. We must have. But neither of us spoke. Kupikir kami makan daging dingin dan salad. Aku tidak ingat. Kami pasti makan. Tapi tak satu pun dari kami berbicara. It's like a dream now. Then she got up, changed the plates and went to the larder for the pudding. Sekarang rasanya seperti mimpi. Lalu dia bangkit, mengganti piring, dan pergi ke lemari makanan untuk mengambil puding. Do you know what the pudding was? Well, of course it wouldn't mean anything to you. It was my favorite, the kind she only made me on special occasions, honeycomb cream. Tahukah kau apa pudingnya? Yah, tentu saja, itu mungkin tidak berarti apa-apa bagimu. Itu adalah favoritku. Jenis yang dia hanya buatkan untukku di kesempatan khusus, krim sarang madu. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe for more opportunities to listen to Indonesian. Check out our playlist section for many other languages you can listen to. Remember, getting lots of passive listening in your target language whilst you wash dishes, work out or commute, is a very easy way to skyrocket your language progress. Try it out for yourself. We hope we will spend more time with you again soon. enjoying languages and great stories together.